That Don't Sound Right is a podcast about talking the way we did before the internet, when you could not prove anyone right or wrong.
All the expertise was contained in the people involved with the conversation. I'm Peter.
I'm Cecil, and I hope you enjoy our conversations. And as you listen, if you find yourself silently saying, that don't sound right, send us a comment. You're one of us. This is obviously a social experiment on TikTok. I mean, it's an amateur social experiment.
But the question is why? Why do we think about it?
Why do we think about it?
I think we hit on some of the reasons, like my manager talking about the way our roads are set up today.
Yep.
Welcome back to another episode of That Don't Sound Right, a podcast about talking. Aren't they really all just about talking?
Podcast.
We're your co-hosts. I'm Peter Billman.
I'm Cecil Davis.
Hey, and we're just trying to have a conversation without Googling it or fact-checking on online. Those things these days have a tendency of killing the conversation. So we're just going to talk about what we know. We're going to talk about what we don't know, and we're going to see where it goes. Maybe you're going to throw your phone out the window, and we apologize in advance.
I want to welcome all the new listeners. We've really picked up a lot of new listeners just from being featured recently on Podbean. And
Our statistics show y'all are from Canada, y'all are from Australia, y'all are from Great Britain.
There's one from Miramar.
Yeah, I mean,
Thailand.
We've got a bunch. So, hey, welcome all.
Welcome, everybody.
And if this is your first time listening, what we do is we'll bring up a topic that just don't sound right.
Right.
And it might not sound right to only one of us, but often it don't sound right to both of us.
Right. And so we really need to address the issue with cow tipping, because we now have some more data.
If you want to go back to episode 103, so
yes.
We're talking at 105 right now.
Yeah.
Go back 2 episodes. It's called episode called Smoke Shifter. So we talk about things that don't sound right, about pranks you can play on people either at work or while you're camping, or rites of passage that you might do as a new person. Someone might have you do something. But one of these rites of passage or pranks is cow tipping.
Right. And so we now have listener David says that his friend from high school's girlfriend's cousin.
Wait, hold on. Say that again very clearly.
His friend from high school, his girlfriend's cousin, who lives in Iowa.
Okay,
or Ohio.
Wait. Is it Iowa or Ohio?
Somewhere in the middle of the country.
This is crucial data.
Says that you can tip a cow.
It's possible.
But
yeah,
Western North Carolina #1 listener Lisa says that she has got friends who tend cows that say you absolutely cannot tip a cow.
All right, so we've got.
So we're back to square one.
We've got some conflicting reports that whether it can or can't be done. I've got an eyewitness, a participant. Now
right.
he would admit that you cannot do it by yourself.
Right.
It takes some friends.
Alcohol has come up multiple times in these conversations about tipping cows. But this is one thing I have not Googled. I have not Googled cow tipping. I'm going to let this continue to ride and just get feedback on it.
Let's hear some more from listeners.
Speaking of alcohol, very well made Manhattan.
Ah, man, yeah.
Or no, it's a Manhattan. Is it Manhattan?
It is a Manhattan. Yeah.
Okay, so you've got a topic tonight that I'm not aware of.
I don't think you're aware of.
Oh.
You might be aware of it, and we'll just stop talking about it. We'll just cancel the episode. We'll move on to something else. But let me ask you a question. This has been flying around the TikTok sphere.
Okay.
All right, the world of TikTok.
Yeah.
All right. Now, obviously, I have not seen this particular video because I'm not sure I could find it or operate TikTok. But that's beside the point.
Okay.
I'm just going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
On the average week, how often do you think about the Roman Empire?
I saw that.
Yeah.
The way I watch reels is what's called the old person's way of watching TikTok. Is the old person's way, where you watch TikTok through reels on Instagram.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right.
So this is blowing up that medium.
Yeah, it is.
And so there's tons of memes on this.
But stop. Answer my question.
I think I'll probably think about it once or twice a week.
Exactly.
And here's why. Well, let's wait. So here's what you're talking. If you're not familiar with this, right? So if you're not familiar with this, there's a meme or a thing or a TikTok thing going around right now where the basis of it is it says that men think about the Roman Empire frequently.
Right.
And so everything I've said,
and women do not.
And women do not.
All right?
Right. And so for one thing, we at work, we will often, if something's going wrong, we will do the meme of Crow. What's his name?
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe going, "Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained?" And so,
All right.
again, Roman Empire.
There you go.
So that comes up lots of times if we use that meme. When's it come up with you? Do you think about the Roman Empire?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, the way this came up in our household is my daughter, who's a frequent flyer on TikTok. She just asked me the question, and I had to think about it. And she said, "See, the fact that you had to think about it means you do think about it, and you're crazy." And I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, it's not even a category about the Roman Empire. And I'm thinking, I guess at the end of the day, I guess I do think about it every once in a while. When you think about, you think about gladiators.
You think about gladiators?
You think anytime anytime you get into the Bible, especially around Easter,
right,
or Christmas,
yes,
you're going to talk about the Roman Empire.
Right. I was talking about the Roman Empire multiple times this week. So when I first saw this come out, I dismissed it out of hand.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
But then I started thinking, do I think about the Roman Empire? And so then I began to think, am I thinking about the Roman Empire because I'm being influenced by this? But the more I thought about it, I really do think about it.
Yeah. I started asking people, because some people know about this. So I asked my manager. I said, "Tell me, how often do you think about the Roman Empire?"
What do you say?
Well, probably once or twice a week. I'm like, "What are you talking about? Or you do too?" But this is a very interesting reason why he talks about it. He thinks about it. Because of the width of our roads is based on the width of carriages from the Roman Empire.
That makes sense. That kind of goes back to our episode where they, in Switzerland, right? Where they went to the left-hand side. Sweden. Right, yeah. Sweden, yeah.
But that dates way back. But here's an interesting fact he pointed out. Mm-hmm. So the design of the solid rocket boosters, pieces of the solid rocket boosters had to fit on the roadway. They had to move pieces of the solid rocket booster from one place to another. And so the design of the solid rocket booster was such that they could move these pieces on our roads.
Yeah.
Which means the space age, our entry into the space age is had to be based on
the Appian Way.
The Bronze Age.
So I think about it, one, because of the Russell Crowe thing, Gladiator.
Okay.
Because I quote Gladiator.
All right.
I have a friend who may be listening right now, who the way he has his number listed in his phone is Decimus Maximus, the whole name from Russell Crowe's name in the movie. And so that shows up on my phone routinely.
Okay.
If I ever think about like Armageddon, I think about Romans.
Why is that?
Just the fall of the Roman Empire.
Okay.
I was talking about Nero last week.
All right.
I was reading something about Nero last week. I was studying something. I think I was studying something else that had to do with Roman.
You're pushing the average up for all of us, Cecil.
I know. I was surprised when I really stopped and thought about it, how often I think about the Roman Empire.
Here's some answers. I've got 0.25 times a week.
I'm easily 2.5 times
one
a week.
friend of mine. Another friend of mine says 5 times a week. I said, okay, now we got to talk. Tell me about 5 times a week. Conversations about the Bible and the New Testament, which was done during the Roman times.
Yep.
Also, because our societal framework in the West is really a continuation of the Greco-Roman civilization.
Well, they found a Roman sword this week in the Dead Sea cave.
How can you avoid this? Tell me. You can't avoid it.
It's like an intact Roman sword And I've been thinking about that sword this week from the Roman Empire.
What have you been thinking about it?
Well, it was so intact.
Oh, okay, all right.
And I was like, man, that's really cool. They said, in fact, it was so well preserved, it was still sharp. And that was from the Roman Empire.
So our international brand ambassador, he says less than once a week.
Less than once. But
less than one. And then listener number one, he says, listen, I went behind your back and asked these questions because I really wanted to spring this on you.
Right, yeah.
But listener number one, Scott, said, but with that said, I did watch a YouTube video on the Roman Empire last week. That was an exceptional week.
I wonder, again, this is obviously a social experiment on TikTok. I mean, as an amateur social experiment.
But the question is why? Why do we think about it?
Why do we think about the Roman Empire?
I think we hit on some of the reasons, like my manager talking about the way our roads are set up today.
Yep.
I mean, he doesn't like the narrow parking lots, the narrow parking spaces.
Why?
Because it's hard to pull a pickup truck in.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Well, we got the Romans to thank for that. Why don't we make parking spaces bigger?
We should.
We should.
Why are we
stuck on 96 inches?
Because yes, I agree with that. Vehicles are bigger. Do you know that some trucks these days are bigger than tanks were in World War I?
Oh, I can believe that.
Like some passenger trucks are bigger than tanks.
Bigger than tanks?
Yeah, bigger than World War I tanks. I've heard.
That don't sound
you've tried to pass a truck on a 2-lane road, a passenger truck.
Yeah.
A passenger truck now, one of the new ones, like 2015 and Ford, those are big trucks.
Yeah, they're wide
and they're tall. They take a lot of space.
Yep.
And all that goes back to the Romans.
Mm-hmm.
I also think about Roman numerals.
Well, I was looking around your house as we speak. By the way, we are at the Camel City Studios.
Proper.
And looking around, I was looking around for some Roman numerals. I don't see any, but you can be sure there's something around here.
You usually run into Roman numerals at least once a week, I would say, in some form or the other. But yeah, I think now that this whole Roman thing is coming up, my feed, my news feed is starting to have.
It's going to blow up.
Right.
It's going to blow up. You're going to get more. You're going to get more ancient Roman relics showing up in your news feed.
Also, anytime the Vatican comes up.
Right, there we go.
That things like that. There's a ton of movies that are based on Roman mythology.
Right.
I mean, if you watch Wonder Woman, it's based on Roman mythology. DC Comics includes Roman mythology.
Well, you can take university classes on Roman mythology.
Yeah.
Right. There's no end. There's no end of the stories that deal with Roman mythology.
Every time Mars is mentioned, Roman mythology.
Okay.
Right. I used to read a series of books. John Morrell, I think his first name was John Morrell, Morrell. He wrote a series of books about assassins.
Okay.
And the two brothers in there were the Roman wolves. I can't remember what they are, like Pollux.
So the question that I have is, and this is going to show my ignorance: are there any Roman people around?
Are they just roaming around?
Nice.
I roam around all the time.
I know you're roaming around.
I don't know.
Are there people that identify as Romans?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I guess maybe if you're from the city of Rome.
City of Rome, maybe you're Roman. Yeah.
You're probably
just
Roman.
like you'd be a Winston-Salem. If you were from here.
The Salemite.
Yeah.
But are there any Romans that are?
I would think, if you were from Rome, you'd be a proud Roman.
That's probably it, though. Right?
Yeah. But then again, if that's another reference. If you see the Colosseum, or if you know somebody that goes to Italy, I've known two people that went to Italy this year.
Yeah.
So again, I was thinking about Rome.
Okay. Yeah.
Because of that. Yeah.
It's pretty remarkable how much it comes up.
Yeah.
When you're not thinking about it.
Yeah. Well, I just think so much of our stuff is based on that.
Right.
Like I was looking at aqueduct this week.
I think of aqueducts all the time when I think about the Roman Empire. It's one of the other way around. When I think about the Roman Empire, what do you think of? I mean, one of the first things I think of is the aqueducts.
Really?
Yeah, that's the first thing I think of.
Huh.
I don't know why. I'm kind of thirsty right now.
Well, the thing I was looking at aqueducts was there's it's a trail, and I forget which country it is, but it goes across the highest aqueduct.
Oh, that'd be
paddle it.
You paddle it?
Yes, you
That'd
paddle
be a dream
the
paddle for me.
aqueduct.
That
Yeah.
would be
I think you need to look at it. Are you okay with heights?
yeah. But
Okay,
what
we
can you
need to go.
see?
No, the aqueduct itself is very high.
Yeah. But can you really see over the edge?
Oh, yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You're in an aqueduct. I mean, it is not wide. And
Man.
you're in a kayak.
True.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
That would be your dream paddle?
That would be yeah.
Well,
Paddling an aqueduct?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
You could think about Rome all the way across the aqueduct.
I mean, I'm thinking about it right now.
I would be thinking about wanting to stay in the kayak and not
Yeah.
going over the edge of the
Do
aqueduct.
not roll over.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure there's edges to it to keep you in.
No.
Yes, of course there is. The water would spill over if there's no edges.
Yeah, there's the aqueduct edges, but there are no safety rails.
Oh,
on it.
yeah.
This is like in another country.
Right, this is not, yeah.
Yeah, there's no safety thought of this.
That's not how they roll. The idea of gladiators and battle to the death. Another thing, similar to what some of these other folks have been saying, is you can't escape the Roman Empire when you're reading, especially the New Testament.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
can't escape that because it's so intertwined.
Yep.
The way that the early church was dealing with the Roman culture, it's intertwined all through Scripture.
Oh yeah. I was just reading about Philip and running up to a chariot, and again, it made me think of Rome. See, this particular guy wasn't Roman, but the chariot made me think of Rome.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah. Anytime you think of chariots,
Sure.
I have a whole bit that the guy. Oh man, I'm getting where my memory's like. I have to like
A bit like a
describe things.
comedy
Yeah,
bit?
comedy bit.
Oh, tell me.
It's Bob Newhart. Yeah. So if you've never listened to the Button Down Mind of Bob Newhart, it's a great comedy album. But he does a whole bit on chariots. That's
Okay.
hilarious. But again, it's the Roman Empire.
Right.
He's thinking about the Roman Empire.
So I don't know how this thing came up on TikTok and why. I mean, I'm very curious about who thought of this question
Yeah.
and how did they. What was the mindset and the process for saying I'm going to do a video and I'm going to ask people about the Roman Empire. I don't know who did this, why they did this, but I'd really like to find out.
I would too. I mean, it's interesting. It's almost to the level of like a sociology experiment, really.
It feels like there's either a PhD student behind this,
Yeah.
or some kind of research being done.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they were trying to figure out. I don't know if they were trying to figure out specifically about the Roman Empire or what do people think about history. One of the things that I think the video on TikTok seems to point out is that men think about it more than women.
Right.
For some reason. I don't know. I can't point to that reason. I know my daughters thought it was hilarious that I even paused. I paused. Well, let me think about it. Like, why are you pausing, Dad? There's nothing to think about. Move on.
Well, I wonder if you could ask the same question, like, could they have substituted in World War II or Vietnam?
Or Taylor Swift.
Whatever you, how many times do you think about Taylor Swift during the week?
Exactly.
Which for me is quite a bit because my daughters played on the they play Taylor Swift's music.
Yeah, I'm next to zero unless I'm around them, they're playing it. But aside from that, it's zero.
Yeah, no, I hear Taylor Swift quite a bit. So, but yeah, I wonder if you could substitute in anything else.
You know, I think another way I think about the Roman Empire also is the parallels between the different stories we tell today. The story of Star Wars, for instance.
Really?
Yeah, you think about the Empire.
Oh, right.
There's the Empire. Well, then there's the Roman Empire.
Yes.
You think about even watching a movie about the British Empire. It kind of takes you back to the Roman Empire. Just the idea of an empire, of a nation taking over a large area of geography and a large area of cultures, and imposing their culture and their way of life on people. That's something that's happened since then.
Yeah.
Romans didn't invent it. It was happening before the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
And it kept on happening afterwards. So the stories that we tell in this other history, lots of parallels.
And I think there's just a lot of stuff in our life. Like, you probably hear it, like you say, Caesar salad, Caesar dressing.
That's right.
I mean.
Yeah. Caesar's Palace.
Caesar's Palace. I mean, what else? I mean, you got Paul Newman dressed like Caesar on the front of a dressing. So if you go into a grocery store,
Toga night at a high school football game.
Toga night.
You think that's because they're Italian? No, that's the Roman Empire.
Well, the whole there's just still a lot of remnants of the Roman culture still. Well, you're not going to believe it, but we have managed to talk an entire episode about this TikTok.
I was going on a fine line. Fine thread. I was holding on by a thread to see if we're going to pull this off. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this. But before we close, we want to talk about something that's happening in October.
Yes.
Our podcast is a proud sponsor of the Ardmore Raw. It's an annual event with hundreds of runners and thousands of fans in the beautiful historic neighborhood of Ardmore in Winston-Salem. RAH, R-A-H, that stands for the Run Against Hunger, because it's a food drive with all the net proceeds benefiting the Second Harvest Food Bank of Northwest North Carolina, which assists food insecure and at-risk families and children right in our own neighborhoods. Since its inception, more than $286,000 has been donated to the Second Harvest Food Bank, $26,000 last year alone. That $286,000 has provided more than 2 million meals to our neighbors. The 2023 RAH will be held on October 21st and features a 1-mile fun run, a 5K, and a 10K. The race is designed for everyone, from lightning fast runners and avid athletes to power walkers and first-time participants. You can sign up to donate or volunteer or run at the race website. It's ardmoreraw.com. The link is also featured on our website, and our website is thatdon'tsoundright.com. Leave out the apostrophe. Hey, we hope to see you there. We'll have a booth for the race.
We will have a booth, and not only will we have a booth, but this past week we got one of the best roadside picks we've ever got. It's not exactly a roadside pick because we picked it off a guy's deck with his permission.
It would have been on the road, though.
It would have been on the road.
He was going to give it away.
It is a brand new, sticker still on it, Fire King stainless steel grill. 44,000 BTUs.
Propane tank provided?
Full propane tank.
So how can I get this?
And cover.
How can I get this grill?
So at the RAH, we will give this roadside pick away. Now remember, this is a roadside pick, but it's brand new, never been lit. And we will give it away. You can register if you show us that you follow us on any platform.
So basically come to our booth, show us on your phone or device that you follow us on any platform. We'll put your name in the hat.
And if you show that you've got somebody sign up to follow us, if you can prove that, we'll put your name in again.
We'll give you another hat. Now, there are some rules.
What are the rules?
Well, that Don't Sound Right staff cannot participate.
And look, even if you don't like this Fire King grill, the propane tank alone is $60.
That's right. Come and get the propane.
Yeah, I mean, you at least get a free tank of propane. And these are British thermal units. These aren't domestic thermal units. These are BTUs.
They're not even Roman thermal units.
These are British thermal units. These are better than domestic thermal units. But anyways, you can register for that. My buddy down in Alabama wants to know if he can register. I told him that he would have to come get it, which would mean he'd have to come visit me, which would be well worth it.
Very good.
All right, so come and try to win the ultimate roadside pick. Oh, we've even got it branded with the That Don't Sound Right logo on the front of the grill.
It is a That Don't Sound Right branded
on the grill. Really nice. I'll start getting some pictures up on the Instagram site as soon as I get the password.
Let's get that password. Hey, but before we close, we want to thank everyone listening. Again, if this is your first time and enjoyed the conversation, would you consider hitting the subscribe button or the check mark on Apple Podcasts? Also, consider leaving us a rating or a review.
Also, we want to point out Wonderfully Made Designs is our advertiser. Small business specializing in custom-made T-shirts. Did the logo for the That Don't Sound Right grill. And decals, contact Casey on Facebook at Wonderfully Made Designs, 139.14. Use code TDSR10 for 10% off your first purchase. That Don't Sound Right is a production of TDSR Podcast in conjunction with Camel City Studios. I am your co-host, Cecil Davis. I'm also your sound engineer, even though I have been one-upped recently.
That's right.
Peter is your other host and your web designer. Go see the website. It looks really good. And if you send a letter in, most likely you've got a quote on the website.
That's right.
Camille is our part-time barista. Emily does our graphic design. Good luck up there in school. Ella does our IG when we get signed back in. Good luck down there in school. Giorgio tests our merchandise. Brent is our international brand ambassador. And as always, listener number one is
Scott.
So until next week, keep talking.
And stay curious.